everybody, and welcome back to my channel. First of all, I want to show you this piece of board. Instead of using MDF, this is house siding that I got from Home Depot, and it's super light, and I use the serrated or the textured side for resin because it really helps the resin adhere. I was commissioned by a friend to produce a map of an island in the Turks and Caicos for her because I had made one for myself and she asked me to make one for her. I'm using real sand from the Turks and Caicos island. It's a Providenciales and resin. So as the original that I made for myself took me more than 50 hours, I am not going to show you everything. However, I will come back now and again to just tell you specific things that I'm doing. I hope you really enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. The underpainting is now dry. I'm going to mix some resin and tint it. I will be using mica powders, acrylic paint, and one of the products that I'm going to use is a primary elements powder, which will give the background a really iridescent look. The thing with primary, I'm also going to be using some pre-mixed paint that I just want to use up, and I think one or both of them may have some silicone. This is primary elements. You have to mix this with a medium. I'm going to mix it just with a matte medium, and the reason you do that, if you don't mix it with a medium, it's just going to be gritty in your resin, and it just won't blend. I also have some other resin tints that I will use, and I'll list those below, with some acrylic paint and also some artist loft. Now the dark blue into the light blue really doesn't matter because the resin will really blend those beautifully. Here's the artist loft fluid white that I will be using, and I will get on and mix the resin. Today I am going to use a resin that I haven't used before. It's called Stone Coat, which is recommended by Mixed Media Girl. I'll leave a link to her channel below. And I've heard it is fantastic. It is heat resistant, although I don't really need that for painting on the wall, but I'm looking forward to trying this. And I'll leave a link to everything below this video too. So let's get on with it. One little bit I missed out was how I put the words or the word of the island. So I print out on my printer in a typeface I want the name of the island, Providenciales, and then with my X-Acto knife I cut it out to make a stencil. Once that's done, I taped it in place and with some white paint just went over very lightly. Let me get it more in focus, there we go, or more in the frame rather. So I put it exactly in the middle. I measured it out so it's exactly in the middle. And with my teeny tiniest paintbrush and some white acrylic paint, I then painted, and actually it took about, sounds like a lot, 5 coats of acrylic paint to get really solid, because there's another coat of resin going on this, and I want this to look like really perfect. I don't want it to look printed, I do want it to look hand painted. So anyway, that's how I got the name Providenciales on the first coat of resin. And don't forget, there's an underpainting under this resin. So now that bit is done, I have a copy of a map of the island, and I have to cut out all the little lakes, and which is really, really fiddly, but definitely worth it. So you do not have to sit and watch me do this whole thing. So now I've cut out all the little lakes and waterways. I will fill those with resin at the final stage once the sand's on, but before I even begin with the map of the island, I am going to put a clear coat of resin all over this, which will cover the paint on Providenciales. And let's begin the next step. Before I apply the clear coat of resin, I need to clean this with alcohol, 91% alcohol, because it has been lying around a bit and I've been touching it, so I need to make sure it's absolutely clean. I'm not going to go over the acrylic lettering that I've done because I don't want the alcohol to smudge that. I just need to make sure that it is very clean, because grease free, because if resin hits any grease or any water, it's just not going to stick. Now it's all completely clean, I'm going to use Stone Coat resin and for a clear coat before I apply the sand. Mixing the resin is a 1-to-1 ratio, and I always think it's better to put the hardener in first into the mixing cup once you have equal parts, and then add the resin. The hardeners all usually, I haven't tried every resin, much thinner than the resin. You'll see here how kind of gloopy the resin is, but I have to say I absolutely love this resin and it mixes beautifully. So it says mix for 3 minutes. I always mix for 5, as I say in all my resin videos. And let's get that part over with. I'm sure you don't want to sit and watch me mix resin.
I wanna love you and treat you right. I wanna love you every day and every night. We'll be together.
Now the resin is mixed, I will apply a clear coat over the top.
With the roof right over our heads, we'll share the shelter of my single bed. We'll share the same room, yeah. But I provide a bread. Is this love, is this love, is this love, is this love that I'm feeling? Is this love, is this love, is this love, is this love that I'm feeling? table. I wanna love you.
So now the resin's on, I really have to make sure that it is all air bubble free because I don't want one air bubble in this painting. All that's left to do for this stage is just to cover it up. All the bubbles are popped and I don't want any dust landing on this little beauty. I will see it in the morning. Big unravel for this layer of resin. Fingers crossed. And on goes the cover. Nighty night painting. Behave. Atmosphere.